Mets
Tweeted.
meet the Mets. Step right up and kill yourself. Fire your manager. Fire your fans. This is Clem. I've been trying to stay calm. I've been trying to spin zone this. I've been trying to minimize this and mitigate this, but it all keeps coming back to one thing, as does all Mets doings and happenings. And this all, forget about the Astros, forget about Mike Fiers, all that bullshit. The reason why we are stuck in this is because of the cheap Wilpons. Because if the Wilpons didn't cheap out, they didn't go the bullshit rookie manager route, and they just hired Joe Girardi because it was sitting right in fucking front of you, you would have nothing to do with the Astros. You'd have nothing to do with Carlos Beltran, and this scandal would have nothing to do with you. So we'll get into all the Beltran specifics, and we'll talk about fucking Jessica Mendoza and all that other bullshit. But the point here is that we should just have Joe Girardi, and this should have nothing to do with us. Stephen Cohen cannot get here fast enough.
Save us, Uncle Stevie! Save us!
Seriously. Seriously.
And anybody, listen, I'm saying it right now on the pod. Anybody that tweets at me that Steve Cohen is going to bail on the team, you're getting blocked. Instant fucking block. You joke about it, LOL, JK in front of it, behind it, doesn't matter. Instant block. We do not say, that's like fucking, that's blasphemy in my mind. That's worse than blasphemy.
All right. So, I mean, I knew this was coming. I was joking around yesterday about it happening and having sources, but that also was kind of real. And I understand it for certain reasons, and I don't understand it for other reasons. So it all depends on what the deal is.
Yeah.
So if the Mets were just like, listen, you lied to us, and the media frenzy is going to be too much, I actually kind of respect it, right?
Yep.
But if this is any other reason than that, these guys are fucking assholes. So when they say that Beltran stepped down or it was mutually agreed upon, obviously that's bullshit. But why is it bullshit? Is it bullshit because the Mets? Is this the Wilpons and the Mets saying we're not going to fire you, we'll allow you to step down, or is this Beltran quitting because he knows shit's about to get a lot worse? There's it depends on which way we're going here with it, because that changes things totally to me. If Beltran is saying, him not putting up a fight here led me to believe he's like, this is going to get a lot worse. I know that I'm at the center of this, and I'm just going to fucking run for the hills right now and not not implicate anyone else. If this is like the Mets basically being bitches about it and just saying, hey, we want to get rid of you because we're afraid of like the heat, and you know what I mean? Like I don't know which way it is. How are you interpreting the mutually parting of ways?
Okay, so at first I was like, our owners have no spine. They are a bunch of fucking weasel cocksucking snakes who don't have spines. However, this could get much worse. Did you see Beltran's his niece talking about her TO again? She's saying, she's saying that there was buzzers in Altuve and Bregman. I don't know who else.
No, and listen, I've been saying this from jump because all the idiots who are like, this was from 2017, not from 18 or 19. You think they just stopped cheating? You think they just didn't do it anymore? And everyone's like, oh, well, there was no, trash cans banging. You don't think they changed? They figured like they're doing something else. They're doing new things. So in 2017, it was garbage cans and fucking microchips in your foot. And in 2018 and 2019, it's probably something different. So when there are possibilities, now there's reports of things inside on your chest, and you have Altuve around the bases going, don't rip my jersey off, coming up with a ridiculous excuse of his wife being mad. I mean, it's all on the table to me, and I think it's extremely naive to think that it's not continuing or that it hasn't evolved. So everybody from Yankee fans to the rest of the fucking league and everyone in between who are saying it's not continuing or they're not doing it, you're all fucking liars. You're all naive idiots. It's definitely continuing. It's probably worse than it was 2017. And I'm sure that Beltran I mean, as more and more comes out, it looks like he was the goddamn mastermind behind it all.
And that's why they should have hired him. They should be like, what do you talk about in a baseball like interview or meeting? It's like, well, I'm gonna tell the guy, I'm gonna draw the lineup card out, send the guys out, use the bullpen, like use blah 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 as my closer. This guy's my setup guy, and this is how I'm going to cheat. These are gonna be all the different ways I cheated in Houston, and all the better ways I'm gonna cheat. And Steve Cohen probably had a fucking diamond cutter when he heard all these fucking ways to cheat. He's like, oh, this is my guy right here. He's hired on the spot.
Yeah, I mean that was my blog yesterday. I said the main reason you got to fire him is because we're gonna want to cheat in a million different ways. Yeah. We're gonna want to cheat with international signings. We're gonna want to cheat with steroids. We're gonna want to cheat with anything we possibly can. And if all of a sudden from day one Beltran is here and the fucking the heat is on you and the spotlight's on you, you're not gonna get away with a goddamn thing. Kind of joking, kind of not. I mean, I can understand not wanting to bring people in who are automatically going to bring you heat with the commissioner when, in order to win in this league, you obviously got to be like cutthroat. So I understand it. I think if any other team did this, it would be just good job by you. Cut the bullshit out before it even starts. You don't want to be associated with this scandal at all. But the fact that it's Mets, it's LOL Mets, it's, meet the Mets, kill yourself. And I get it. The optics of hiring a manager and never having him manage a game looks stupid. But it probably, at this point in time, it was the right move probably. The problem is we shouldn't have been in this boat at all, like I said, because there was plenty of other good managerial options that would have fit us perfectly if we didn't cheap out. So on the one hand, I applaud you. I understand it looks embarrassing, but it's probably best to just say, we don't want to be associated with this, but you still take all the goddamn blame as always, because all roads lead back to you penny pinching and keeping your fucking hands in your pants instead of taking out the wallet. So
yeah. And Girardi going to Philly hurts too, obviously, because he would have never happened and been a problem. And then the other side of it is like there's a chance that Manfred was like, listen, he got out of this because of the loophole. He was a player. I'm going to hammer you guys, and if you guys do any cheating, the reason you hired the guy again, I am going to bring fucking hell to your door. We basically own the team because you fuckers keep taking out, loans from us. It's like, Manfred can do whatever the fuck he wants. So, again, because it's the Mets, it hurts a little less, or it hurts a lot more, because it's such like a fucking punchline. Like, he Bill Belichicked us. He Bill Belichicked us.
I resign as manager of the New York Mets. Write it on a fucking napkin. No, you're right. And obviously, in order to stop this from being like a complete, well, we are already in complete catastrophe mode, but in order for this to not be one of the most embarrassing scandals in sports, Manfred had to say, I'm not gonna discipline players, because otherwise, you know what would happen? You'd have to suspend an entire team's worth of players, right?
A good team too.
Right, both teams, right? Hey, buddy, how we doing? But now that like Beltran is, you couldn't have Cora get suspended for a year or 2 or 3 years, and Hinch get suspended for a year, and then Beltran be able to just go out there and manage. You know what I mean? It's like the guy who was more involved than those dudes is free to do whatever he wants. So I get why Manfred said, I'm not going to discipline any players, but I don't think that you can then turn around and hammer Beltran, right?
We got a guest.
What do you think?
What
do you think?
Oh, Shay Girl Shay, how we doing, baby? So everything's gonna be all right, Shay Girl. Once Uncle Stevie takes over, don't worry, girl. I can see the fear in her eyes.
Coming, Shay. Don't worry. All right. So anyway, I don't know if I made sense there because I had one.
No, you did.
But yeah, it's like I get why you said you can't discipline players, but then you left this weird Beltran situation out to dry. They should have just said, we are not going to punish any active players. You know what I mean? Like, there's your loophole. We're going to go get Beltran, Cora, and Hinch, and then be done with it. But, I mean...
Do you think that Beltran wasn't named... Beltran was the only player named in the report because the Players Association basically was like, you're not putting... Because the Players Association is like the most powerful union on the planet, basically. So there's a chance that maybe...
Do you think that Beltran should have been fired? The vacuum is stopped. Oh, the vacuum stopped. Okay. Go with Grandma for 2 minutes, okay? I'll be right out. I'll be out in 5 minutes, okay?
You want the straw?
I mean,
been there, done that, dude.
Grandma, step your babysitting game up, Grandma. Jesus. Okay.
Grandma's on Twitter right now on her burner, and she's tweeting out some fire right now. She has her Smirnoff in one hand, and she's probably like, Mama's plants. I need to let's get her on the pod. I got two of the plants.
She's got
I need the last one.
She's got thoughts, man. Say it again. Was Beltran like the only player?
Like, the fact that like he was the only player mentioned in the report, it's probably because the player association is like, you're not putting anyone on this report unless like you have to go through all the little hoops or whatever. Since he's retired, they probably got around that. Like Carlos, there's no way Carlos Beltran, who's batting like 200 that year, was like the guy who was, he might have been a part of it and a mastermind, but everyone else had to be involved. Again, the buzzers on the jerseys and shit like that.
I think the players took part in it. I think Carlos Beltran like came up with this. I think that it's going to end up being like his idea, his like.
Do you think this all started? This got planted in his head. Game 7 of the 2006. If he had known that curveball was coming, we just cracked the case. Right? We just cracked the fucking origin story.
The worst moment of that guy's career was when he guessed fastball and got a fucking curveball and buckled.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean, like and he was chasing his ring. Like I said the Rocket, like Hall of Fame career, incredibly talented, well-liked guy. Why do it? Well, he wanted a ring and he got it. And it just, he paid the ultimate price for it. And I really think that I think the commissioner and the league was in a tough spot where, like I said, they couldn't punish players because then you'd have to suspend like 2 entire franchises. And you probably could have it would have been tough to single out Beltran. And I think ultimately what ended up happening was they were like, well, all we're going to do is fuck over the Mets. So like, who cares?
Who cares?
You know what I mean? Like, so I see it all kind of come together where, like you said, they're wishy-washy with their management, with their ownership right now. So like, who's really gonna? Steve Cohen's not gonna go to bat or go crazy. The Wilpons are on their way out, so they're gonna be like, whatever. The league basically owns them, so I can see them being like, yeah, whatever. If the one casualty we have here that we can't quite like pin down is this Beltran half player, half manager situation, and the only team we fuck over is the Mets, well, so be it.
Yeah.
So,
and I imagine I think we're all in the same boat. I think certain Mets fans feel different ways. I didn't give a fuck about. We said it on the podcast. Like, all right, we had Carlos Beltran. I really didn't like him.
No.
We did hear from certain sources that this was going to be a disaster if he was here. So maybe we end up dodging a bullet in the long run. It's kind of preposterous that I'm sure the Wilpons were very heavy-handed with his staff. I'm sure this is as much his staff as it is theirs, which is probably a good thing in a fucked up way. That it's not like all these Beltran guys are here and now Carlos is no longer there.
Right. It's not like we're just like totally in the wind now. If it was going to happen, that's why I think it's better to happen now than if in the middle of this season, all the evidence comes out. If we're going towards September, and let's say we're in the hunt, and then you lose your manager, if that kind of shit happens, then you're truly, truly fucked. So let's just get it out of the way now. And again, I am of the school of thought. One, like we said, that Beltran's not going to be. I don't understand why everyone thinks he's like this, like, brilliant baseball mind. I'm sure he's great, but the thought that he was going to be like instantly like a Hall of Fame manager is kind of crazy to me.
Other than him being great at cheating, which like is important.
Right. Yeah.
If he had that kind of baseball mind, I want to know hopefully whatever he had in store, we can still do, like whatever fucking cheating he was going to do. I want cheating. Let me make that clear. I want
the cheating.
all the
Give
cheating.
me all of the cheating. That's what I'm looking for here. So I feel like if there was ever a time to do it, like I'm okay with this as a Mets fan because, like I said, I didn't love him, and I'm also basically just waiting for the Steve Cohen era. Like, if there was ever a time to be completely in the wind and fucked up right now, it's basically while our franchise already is in this limbo, waiting for new ownership. It's embarrassing. It's LOL Mets. It's annoying because it's probably going to lead to Terry Collins coming back in my fucking
God,
life.
no.
Let's be honest. Honestly, who's it going to be?
Well, all right. So they said, I heard Terry's out. Terry, I heard is out.
Oh, is he?
I heard Eduardo Perez is out, which is crazy that he's your finalist and he's like not even getting an interview. Again, this is LOL Mets. Rojas, it sounds like he's kind of like, I guess, in the lead. The bench coach, Nunez or whatever, Nunian.
Yeah.
He's up there.
Give me Phil Regan. Give me the vulture.
Give me the vulture back. Fucking David Wright. If people say David Wright, throw David in. Like, this is the perfect way to get David Wright as the manager.
Yeah, you know what? Like, you'll get a free pass as a manager this year where it's like, you were just basically a Band-Aid to stop the bleeding. And if you're not good, no one's going to blame you. And if you are good, hey, maybe we stumble upon, maybe we found a diamond in the rough here. Baseball managers, they don't ultimately really matter except for shit like this. So I can understand it. It's like, if my thought of a manager right now is that he's the go-between from GM to player, and he's the go-between from with the media, right?
Yep.
And so if Beltran was going to be a catastrophe with the media, I can get them being like, we just can't have that anymore, because ultimately baseball managers are really more of a figurehead and not that big of a deal. So laugh all you want, and you want to blame the Wilpons for being cheap, and that's why they're in this situation, I'm all for it. If you're going to talk about like they should have stuck with Beltran because he's such a great baseball mind and blah, 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 no. I think this is still the tip of the iceberg. Like, everybody's like, wow, the fallout from this mega scandal. I think we're still going to have more to come. So it's only going to get worse. Distance yourself now. You shouldn't have been involved at all, and we can definitely criticize you for that. But once we accept that fact, distance yourself as much as you can.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And this whole...
distance yourself from Jessica fucking Mendoza. What an idiot. And for the record, I actually semi-agree with her. I do think that whistleblowing, the way that Mike Fiers did it, is like...
Oh, we lost Cash.
It's not like he's, he's ultimately in the right, but it's distasteful. It's like snitching. So it's like, don't do that. But, fuck.
I got you now.
You still there?
Yeah, I got you there. You're good.
You back?
Yeah, you hear me? Oh, we lost my boy KFC here. All right, so I'm going to take over the podcast now because I don't know when he's going to come back, but we still have all this audio to do, and you guys are watching live. Jessica Mendoza, I disagree with the way she said it. I disagree with basically all of it. Mike Fiers did what he had to do. It's like the steroid shit. These guys didn't want to like inject themselves with steroids, and they were sick of having to keep up with all the dudes that were using steroids. You can't get mad at the whistleblowers here. It all starts at the Wilpons, though. It starts at the top. I blogged about it today. You have to send it like at Barstool. If there's like a subject that we shouldn't talk about, Dave will already even like, no one's mentioned this subject until you get approval from me. That should have been written by Fred and Jeff Wilpon to everyone at Mets.com, and especially the person that is a fucking media member. And it said, Jessica, do not say a fucking word about the cheating scandal, the Astros. Don't talk about Houston at all. Don't talk about the Houston Rockets, Jessica Mendoza. Keep that fucking H word out of your mouth. Instead, she fucking went out there and it was a clown show. It's a clown show. It's a fucking clown show. Why is it always a clown show?
Yo, what can Jessica Mendoza possibly bring to the table for this organization that it's worth having this half media member, half employee? That was, I've been waiting for that conflict of interest to pop up, and it pops up in the worst possible spot with her further like implicating. It's just like, God damn it.
And she's not even like, it's not even like they hired Vin Scully or like someone beloved. Yeah, like everyone hates Jessica Mendoza. It's not a misogyny thing. I'm telling you, people just do not like her. Men don't like her. Women don't like her.
Right.
If
it was Doris Burke, everyone would be fine. It's not. It's some idiot that nobody likes. This is like
that's who the Knicks should hire. Doris fucking Burke. You just fixed the Knicks.
Sure. We all love Doris. We're not against women. This is when Dave says, I don't want Blind Mike leading Barstool Sports. I don't want certain people being the frontward-facing person during controversy. That's Jessica Mendoza and the Mets. To be honest, I don't know who I want from the organization facing forward with the Mets because they're all fucking morons.
David Wright, he's the only guy.
The only one. He's the only one who ever figured it out. It's always a clown show. Maybe that's the shirt we should sell, just like the clown emoji with the Mets colors. I feel like a lot of the times it's more self-inflicted than this. Like the Mets did kind of get screwed on this one.
Yep.
Like if a guy comes to you and he's an ex-player and he's a hot managerial candidate and he tells you he's good to go and there's no reason to say like, hey, by the way, were you cheating and all that shit, then, I do feel bad for them, but I don't feel bad in the sense that that should have never been their first pick in the first place, and the only reason it was is because of money.
I blogged. I thought that Beltran not getting like suspended was like a sign that the juju had changed with Steve Cohen, right? And it turns out no, it was just delayed. It's the same old shit because this is when us Mets fans look at the heavens and say, "How does this always happen to us?" There's 29 other teams. You're talking about we're the team that just gets hammered with it. And let me say this: I'll be fine with this firing nonsense if the Yankees get fucking whammed because those fucking Yankee fans are the biggest fucking, like, they're not even snitches. They're just a dude pointing at the person that went to jail. What kind of shit is that, man? You fucking, I know you lost in the playoffs. You fucking lost. George Steinbrenner wouldn't be crying. It's fucking, they sound like Saints fans. Get the fuck out of my face, Yankee fans.
And to think like he was part of your organization too. So if he is truly the ultimate mastermind and Cora was out here winking and talking about you, like, shut your trap. And I don't know. Everyone's like, well, MLB said they're not going to investigate, so obviously they were clear. Them not investigating doesn't mean you're clear. That means the MLB just hasn't decided to investigate you yet because they are Major League Baseball is botching this so bad, by the way. The way Manfred is just trying to keep a lid on this, the lid's already blown off. So at this point, you might as well dig all the way in.
Yeah.
He had that edict, like anybody who talks about this is going to get punished worse than the Astros. They're going to talk. There's going to be the Trevor Bauers of the world. There's going to be the nieces of Carlos Beltran of the world. This is going to get out somehow, and you trying to deny it or fight it is only going to make you look stupider in the end. It's already out. It's already a mega scandal. It's already a monster. It's already on par with steroids and everything else, point shaving, all the other scandals we've ever seen. It's now got 1, 2, 3, 4 teams in the mix, 3 managers fired. It's like,
it's Bud Selig all over again, too. I mean, everyone's like, oh, Bud Selig, this is the same shit he did with steroids. All the fucking, you're going to tell me not one writer knew about this? They fucking probably, it was like a joke. It was like a running thing in baseball. We all knew about this on Twitter and all the other, the wink stuff about the Astros and how they were cheating. Now, I'm not saying people knew everything about it, but they knew. And at the core of it, it's fucking sign stealing. That's what drives me the most crazy. It's something that's still, people are going to sign steal in the first spring training game of the year when the guy takes his lead off second and he's letting the guy at the plate know what's going on.
It happens.
It happens.
And so, like, where do you draw the line? It's like you're allowed to do it when you're on the field. Are you allowed to do it when you watch tape after the fact? You're not allowed to do it live, real time. Like, it's just, there's always been levels, and as technology progresses, the cheating will progress, and we'll always have to kind of adapt to where, there's always going to, the winning teams usually are at the forefront of these loopholes and these little gray areas. And the fact that we turned it into this is, I think that's where I kind of get down with what Mendoza's saying, where it's like Mike Fier is just blowing the whole fucking league up because he's salty when it's something that everybody already kind of understands. That to me is like a little bit where it's unnecessary. But once the horse is out of the barn, cat's out of the bag, you got to dig all the way in. You can't have any gag orders. You can't have any blanket, we're not going to suspend these people statements. Like, everything should be on the table in order to clear this up as much and as quickly as possible. And they're not doing that. And it just drives me crazy that the Astros won a World Series and the Red Sox won a World Series, and then the Mets got nothing to show for it, and somehow they're the ones fucked too. That's where it's the most Mets ever. We are the biggest losers of the bunch, yet getting just as worse of a fate as these two teams.
I said the two fan bases that lost their manager get to dry their eyes on their world champion shirts.
Right.
And we have nothing to show for other than having a team that doesn't have a manager less than a month before spring pitchers and catchers report. It's fucking crazy. I honestly, I forget about, like, either the baseball gods hate us or there is no God in general. It's one or the other. There's no other way to explain this kind of shit with the Mets.
I say yesterday, I said, like, when Kevin Hart had to step down from the Oscars, and they just didn't have a host, let's just not have a manager. Fuck it.
Yeah. Oh, analytics seem to love that, right? They'd love that shit. We're the analytics team of baseball. Save the Wilpons a few dollars, too. They'd love it, too.
How funny. I mean, so wait, by the way, do we know if Beltran's not getting paid at all? Are the Wilpons on the hook for this at all?
I mean, there's no way they're paying 3 salaries, right? Between Ricky, him, and then the next guy. Like, there's just no way.
It would be so – I would actually love it. I would love if they end up paying more than what Girardi would have been from the jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make Cespedes a player manager, sure. We've already cut his salary in half. I mean, what a show. From wild boars to the cheating scandal of 2019, it's just It never, ever ends with Jessica Mendoza flapping her gums and managers who never even manage a game before they're gone, with lame duck owners, all on Mike Piazza Day.
On Mike Piazza Day. Oh, how are we going to honor one of the greatest players in franchise history? By shitting all over his day.
I hate this team so much. And I know some people said, what if this clown show scares off Steve Cohen? The only silver lining I have here is what if Steve Cohen's like, all right, let's expedite this shit. I got to get control of this team. I got to put a tent on this circus, and I got to take control of it and figure this out. So let me take over tomorrow. Maybe it'll actually speed things up. If it slows things down, if it gets in the way at all, I will, in fact, have to kill myself.
I wonder if Manfred was like, listen, if you guys want this sale to go through smoothly, you're gonna have to meet me on the Beltran.
Yeah, well,
right.
I put any of it's on the table because it is. We are now talking about not sports and integrity of the game. We're talking about like a multi-billion-dollar entity and media embarrassment and just wanting to get over with this scandal. Now it's basically politics now. So yeah, if you told me that there was we can't have this guy just managing freely when we just fired 2 other managers, his head is going to have to roll. You guys do it the way you want to do it. We'll let you frame it, but make it happen, or we're going to come down on you harder. Or maybe it's the opposite. Hey, we'll sweeten the pot and we'll let you do X, Y, Z, but you got to meet me on this one. I would believe any of it and all of it because, yeah, it makes too much sense that they would have to step in and say to the Mets, listen, we can't just let this pretend like nothing happened here with him.
Yeah, and I could live with that. I mean, it's annoying. I hope Stevie Cohen was in like Argentina, like trying out different bulls that he knows the steroid doesn't come up, like trying out their semen. Be like, this doesn't show up on a drug test. No, all right, and he's like literally doing the dirty work himself, inseminating, getting the bull semen out to get it out, and he's like, oh shit. I just lost my manager. I'll be right back, guys. And he flies his private jet back here and is going to go fucking eliminate you. He's our Darth Vader. He's all we have.
Yeah, I would love like the glass to shatter and Steve Cohen comes in and he's like, all right, everybody get the fuck out. I'm taking over. This is idiotic organization.
He has to have a satellite, right? Like, he has his own satellite, and he can use that to cheat. Like, that's probably what we're dealing with here.
I'm hoping that, yeah, he's zooming in from, like, the moon. You know what I mean? Like, watching things going on from there. So it's going to be some bullshit hire, right? Like you said, Luis Rojas or something like that.
It can't be Show. I don't want Showalter. I don't want Baker. I don't want any of those.
I already was of the school of thought that like these seasons before the ownership change takes over doesn't count, and now even more so because like while I don't think managers matter, I also think that expecting this team to start off on the right foot when we're 2 minutes away from pitchers and catchers, and not only do you not have a manager, but now it's a distraction. It's, I know the ultimate move here is to get rid of the distraction. And for 2021 and the long run you did. But for 2020, we are full-blown distraction territory. There's no way around it. So, Pete Alonso, is he going to have the best, is he going to be able to follow up his sophomore year the same way he did his rookie year? Probably not, when half the time he's arguing with the media about, the fucking Astros. It's just.
I bet Noah. Remember Noah? He's like doing pull-ups and shit. He's probably just eating a bag of like Lay's right now. It's like, fuck this shit. I hate these
whatever,
guys.
Dude, I'm gonna get whatever, man. Who cares? Yeah. I mean,
this is the thing, though. Let's also say this. We're recording this at 3:15 on Thursday after the news came out. In the next 24 hours, the Mets are going to fuck something else up. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to screw up.
They will continue to botch this one way or another, undoubtedly. But in the short term, I do. You know what? Let's start beating the drum of like we have integrity. The Mets have integrity, and they won't be associated with cheating in any way, shape, or form. And so, no matter what negative effects it has on their young players and their young core and their franchise, they did what it takes, and that's the bottom line. Let's keep pushing that narrative and that media line because that's the truth. That's why they did it.
Yep, integrity. We get rid of women that do not get married and have kids out of wedlock. Right, Jeff Beltran? You scumbag son of a bitch.
I can't wait for him to be gone.
We need a public execution. When these guys go, I want Steve fucking going to publicly execute them. Even if it's what is effigy? I want an effigy if need be. Chop their heads off.
Let Beltran do it. Beltran probably wants to murder these guys.
He's probably,
you know what, Carlos? You want to make it up to the fans for doing this? Kill them. Then we'll be happy.
Do you think he's low key like relieved? Like, I didn't want to deal with those assholes. I really wanted this managerial job.
Probably. I wouldn't put it past him to just be like, I wasn't really ready for this anyway. I definitely know how these assholes operate. I don't want to do that. And I really think that he knows that much more is about to come out. Where if he's smart, he disappears. Like, flee the country, new identity. Grab your niece and get the hell out of town.
And before you do that, sing like a canary and tell everything you did with the Yankees last year.
Yankees, bring them down. That's the real way to make it up to us. You wanna apologize for basically ruining this season? Take down the Yankees with you, man.
Put 15 on the wall, retired for life in Mets in City Field if he takes down the Yankees.
I will. He'll be the best manager ever. Without managing a game, if he takes down the Yankees, he'll be my favorite Mets manager ever.
Yes.
Like right now, can you name me your current favorite Mets managerial moment? It's Bobby Valentine in the disguise, and number 2 would be if Carlos Beltran takes down the Yankees. Otherwise, I don't even have
ass in the jackpot. And ass in the jackpot.
And ass in the jackpot. Yeah, retroactive ass in the jackpot. And until you do that, Carlos, you are persona non grata around these parts, man.
It's like you never existed, Carlos, because you basically didn't. Let's be honest. This is crazy. Think about this emergency podcast. When we started this podcast less than a year ago, when we did the Carlos Beltran hiring podcast about 2 months ago, we couldn't have even seen this coming. But if you had told us then he would be fired now or stepped down, we'd probably be like, yeah, like what happened? Like, I don't know what happened, but yeah, this sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, is it just utterly ridiculous that we got pulled into this and somehow are the only losing team to lose a manager without any evidence, without actually cheating themselves? I mean, the Mets are the only team to ever get fucked over without doing any cheating themselves. Is it shocking? Yes. Is it completely and totally believable? And actually, should we have expected it and seen it coming? Yes.
That's what you gotta believe means. You gotta believe the Mets are gonna fuck something.
You gotta believe that the absolute worst is always gonna happen. And once again, buy the shirt. It all comes down to this. You didn't choose the Mets life. The Mets life chose you. We had no choice. We had no choice in the matter, the way the Wilpons had no choice in the matter. So meet the Mets, step right up, and kill yourself.
Gotta believe.